so we can get moving along. Corbin is passing out for the subcommittee chairs. He's going to pass out your note sheet, so you will have that information available if you are asked any questions. What I thought I would do at the beginning, I've got one other deficit bill. We've got another deficit bill that we want to keep alive just to have a lot of code sections in it for purposes of maybe some late deficits, a few things that we know are coming, and I'm going to take it up first, and we'll jump right into the appropriations bills. Also, I will let you know that for purposes of the appropriations bills, almost everything is at LBR. And for those that are new to the committee, and of course, Senator Williams, for your benefit, the Joint Legislative Budget Committee has met back in the fall, looked at every budget, looked at every request. Part of that process includes eliminating pins, vacant pins, eliminating one-time funds that were given last year to that budget. So the numbers that you see from LBR are what we've done as our first crack at looking at the expectations of that committee along with the expected revenue to come up with what we've got. There are a few little nuances to it, and I'll touch on those right now, and then of course the subcommittee chair may want to explain further. The major change you'll see is in the Mississippi Adequate Education Program, where we have a $50.722 million increase. That's for the teacher pay raise that we passed and sent down to the House. There is a $66.4 million reduction from DFA that's actually going to be transferred over to DPS. That's for the Capitol Police that we intend to move out of DFA to DPS. And also you'll see, and I'll talk about this tomorrow too on the floor when I cover the worksheet with everybody, and you'll see that on there is a $15.3 million decrease from Medicaid. Now, that's a little bit confusing because Medicaid, we put about $85 million of one-time funds into Medicaid last year. Y'all remember that we had to use a lot of one-time funds to plug some budget holes last year. We used capital expense funds there. We had to use $55 million of rainy day funds last year to plug some holes, but this $85 million out of Medicaid was actually reduced. We had to plug that up with general funds money at JLBC, and then we actually were able to come down off of that. The expectation is that Medicaid will have about a $15 million amount below that possibly, but we may have to plug some of the one-time funds that are not going to be used this fiscal year and put them into next year's budget for Medicaid. So a lot of movement there, and as we get closer to the end of the session, I'll talk to you more about that. So let me do this. Does anybody have any questions, first of all, about the worksheet? If you want to, you can just wait until tomorrow. I don't care. It's up to you. We can talk about it now, or I'm going to present this on the floor tomorrow, and you can ask me questions then if you want to. So I'll say going once, going twice. We will take it up tomorrow unless somebody wants to ask a question now. All right, I'm going to get into the deficit bill now, and then we'll move into our individual bills. You'll see before you Senate Bill 2956. This is that additional deficit bill. There are a lot of sections in it. You will also note, if you look through it, you see a lot of zeros down there because we don't know what the final deficits are going to be. We know what some of these probably are likely to be, but rather than trying to put some numbers in at this point and then change numbers later on, what we've got is several sections. 1 and 2 are Attorney General settlement funds, and I've got those zeroed out. You'll see sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 are MDOC funds. I've mentioned this before to some of you. We're going to have some deficits we're probably going to have to handle for the Department of Corrections. We've got a lot of things out there that are hanging around, including some outstanding medical costs from years past. We've got some funds for private prisons. As y'all recall, we had some expenditures in the private prisons last year. We've also got some funds for local jails that have had to be used, and also regional jails. So that's what some of that's going to be. Section 7 is, and Section 8 are DPS funds for the trooper school that is intended to go forward. There's the reason there are 2 sections because we got special funds and general funds that'll have to be utilized there. Section 9 is money for VA board for operational expenditures. I don't know what that final amount's going to be, but and I don't know where that's going to be pulled from at this point. If some of those are going to be special funds or some of those are going to have to be one-time capital expense or general funds, but we're keeping that section alive. Section 10 is wireless communications. They've got some contractual obligations that we may have to meet down the stretch. Section 11, ITS. We have allowed ITS, as most of you know that have been here for a while, that we cut out some of the pass-throughs years ago, but we've reinstituted some of the pass-throughs for ITS, and this is going to give them some funds that gives them authority to spend some of the funds they've been charging on pass-throughs to other agencies. Section 12 is money. Sections 12, 13, and 14 are funds that you'll see $267,479 to the Secretary of State, the spending authority and special funds, $76,120 to special funds to the Department of Ag and Commerce, and $124,370 in special funds to DFA. These are CARES Act funds that came through the governor's office to these three agencies. We're just giving them the authority to spend those special funds. Section 15 is a large chunk, I think that's supposed to be it is 199 million. I thought it was 199 million of spending authority for Medicaid for some of the money they're pulling down as it relates to the increased FMAP that they've got. So that is not additional funds. Don't freak out when you see 199 million, because that's just some of the authority that they have to spend the funds that have come through for FMAP. And there may be, I can't recall any other, Corbin, besides the FMAP increase. Did they have any other special funds that came through, or federal funds, or is that it? Yeah, okay, mainly, if not all, the FMAP funds. Section 16 is $15,000 to the Board of Animal Health, provide for spending authority for a grant that they received for some disease control equipment. Section 17, that's again a zeroed out section, funds that may need to go to the Medical Licensure Board for some obligations they've got related to litigation. Section 18 is to the Department of Mental Health. That number may be a fairly substantial dollar number when it's all said and done, but it is special funds going to Department of Mental Health for some substance abuse block grant and CARES funding and other federal matching funds that they've got. And I believe that is it. That's it. That's an explanation of the deficit bill, and I'm happy to yield a question. Senator Moran, you want to speak into your microphone, because we have people that are watching by Zoom too. Thank you.
For the DMR, we'll take that up the next day or so.
The DMR bill that Senator Moran's requesting, the plan, I believe, at this point is the House has actually passed the bill that we sent them, the first deficit bill. I think there need to be some changes to that bill, including the DMR, and there's one other one on financial aid. They've already passed those. I talked to the chairman, I will tell you, earlier today. I think the easiest thing to do would be for them to send this back down to us, and let's just invite conference and make sure we got everything in it that needs to be in it, and then get it passed when we go to conference.
Yes,
if not, they've got to send it. They're going to have to pull it back off, take it back up on the House side, and then send it to us. So to me, I thought it'd be easier just to send it to us. I'll invite conference, and then we'll get that cleaned up.
I guess they can stay afloat a month.
Pardon?
I guess they can survive that month without that.
Oh, no, this is going to be, that's the early what I'm calling the early deficit bill. These are things that we're hoping to get passed here very soon, in the next week.
Because he's asking me all the time about it. And
you talking about the director?
Yeah,
he's asking me too about it.
Okay,
we're
thanks,
getting
sir.
to it. This bill that I just explained a few minutes ago, this bill will be something to keep alive for the end of session. And maybe not necessarily the very end of session, but these are deficits that we're likely to have to deal with at some point later in the session. Other questions? Senator Norwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will we get a total deficit amount?
You will get a total deficit amount at the appropriate time, Senator Norwood, but I don't think I could give you one right now, just because some of these are moving targets, and we don't have exact numbers on it, but
No, that's fine. I just wondered. And the other question is, now this is this is a deficit for, this is for what, 20?
This
fiscal
current
year-
fiscal,
Fiscal year
yeah, 2021,
2021.
correct.
Will we know at that time the overall impact that it would have on the overall budget?
Well, obviously, whatever we spend out of, primarily here, capital expense funds. Now, keep in mind that a lot of this is special funds, so it's not going to have any effect on our general funds, and not that the capital expense fund necessarily does, but most of the money, like for instance, in the first 6 or 7 categories is all going to be capital expense funds. So as we draw that down, that's going to be less money that we might have available to plug some holes in some other areas. I mean, I've already identified, and those of you that are subcommittee chairs like yourself, you can probably listen to your agencies and you can identify a few spots where they got a hole to plug, not a recurring expense. Obviously, we want to use our general funds for the recurring revenue. But the more money we pay out in deficits right now, the less money we have to plug a hole. Something like computer hardware broke down at an agency and they need, $100,000 to fix their hardware. That's the kind of money that I would look at and say, well, that's probably not a bad use of capital expense funds. So, yeah, the more we spend on this, the less we're going to have for those things.
And I looked at the Department of Correction, say, and I see that portion of that was the private prisons. Now, and those are general fund dollars. Those are general fund dollars, correct?
Well, more than likely, those would be for deficit capital expense funds. Now, as we set their budget for next year, for 2022, I want to set everything, unless we have another year like last year where we had to dip into, a rainy day fund and the capital expense fund so heavily just to be able to keep the agencies from taking a worse cut than they did. I hope we can work our way out of that this year.
Well, I guess my concern is, are we setting the budgets too low and the agencies that's compromising the agency's operation, and then they have to come back for deficit appropriation, or are they just not handling it efficiently enough to provide for the expenses that they're confronted with?
Well, I think I'm going to give you 2 answers, and if I need to answer some more, I will. One is I want, and I think that we ought to set our budgets based on the general funds, expected general funds that we're going to have for next year. And obviously, when the JLBC met back in December for the final meeting, we had to look at what we expect based on what the economist and the revenue commissioner tell us what the total amount of money that's going to be available. So we set our budget based on that. Having said that, the budgets that you see in front of you, they're down. Many of those are down from 2021. Probably almost all of them are down from 2021. Some of those, I want to remind you, some of those are because they have vacant pens, and that would be 180 days of vacant pens. They have a job they haven't filled for 180 days. A lot of agencies will tell you they want their pens back, but we're then tying up money and sometimes not even using the money, and we put kind of a freeze on any kind of, to a large degree, put a freeze on pay raises last year because agencies were taking such a big hit. We didn't feel like it was a good idea to people to be taking big pay raises, yet the agency and the programs were taking big cuts like they took. So I think we and we had to use one-time funds last year. The second part of the thing I wanted to answer on that second part was they're going to have to come back, if we cut them and they have to come back next year. One of the things I want to say loud and clear to the agencies, and Corbin can tell you because I ask him this question all the time, is any agency that's coming in here with a deficit appropriation, why are they asking for a deficit appropriation? I don't want an agency to come back. I'm not going to be sympathetic to an agency that comes in and just says, I'm just running out of money. I mean, they need to budget, and I think most of them do. They need to budget like we have to budget. They need to budget like you would at your home, that if I know that I'm only going to make you know, $40,000 this year, then I know I've got to set my budget based on 40,000. I don't set my budget at 45,000 hoping that, you know, some miracle's gonna come in the next year and I'm gonna get a $5,000 increase. And so I personally, and I hope all the subcommittee chairs that are looking at those, and anybody in this committee or anybody in the Senate or legislature can look at this. If you see an agency that's actually not doing a good job of handling the money they've got, because I know it's not always pleasant. Like last year, it was tough to have to give agencies cuts, but we were in the middle of a pandemic where we lost $240 million in 1 month. And it was just the reality of the world we faced, and we dipped into our rainy day fund significantly to help this, and we used capital expense funds that otherwise could have been used to fix up a building or a computer system or whatever. I'm just not going to be real sympathetic to the ones that come in here looking for, and Corbin will tell you, I've already told some agencies, no way, I'm not going to support funding that expense when they had some expectation they would just come back for a deficit request. Deficit requests, in my opinion, are things that are unexpected. You know, if you have some catastrophe, again, like a computer system goes out, or you have, you know, a crisis, for instance, in corrections. Some of those medical expenses are from years past. We called up last year, and we paid, I think, $8 million, either $6 or $8 million last year to help eat into this medical deficit they've had. And I'm hoping we can eliminate that this year. That's my plan. Yeah, I just want the agencies to understand they don't need to just because their budget get cuts. This is no fun for me. I promise you to have to tell an agency it's a cut, but they've got to live with whatever the entire legislature passes as their budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I certainly, I trust your judgment, and I feel comfortable, but that was just some things that was just, you know, every year, I know since I've been here, correction we've had deficit after deficit after deficit, and, you know, just wondering why, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, and I want to add to that, Senator Norwell, because I think that's a good point on corrections. That's one of the agencies. There are a handful of agencies we have in the state, Medicaid and corrections being right there at the top of the list. There's no way for us to know exactly. We put in a budget based on the best expectations we have from the directors of those agencies and the outside information. And then, of course, you got to make it fit within what our total revenue picture is. And sometimes we prioritize. You know, we may prioritize we may prioritize corrections over education this year, or education over DPS this year, or you know, judicial system over transportation 1 year, whatever it is. And those are part of the priorities we make. But corrections is truly one that you never know what it's going to be, because you don't know how many prisoners you're going to have, and what the costs are going to be, what the medicals are going to be for some of those prisoners. So that's a tough one to get. You never, you know, if ever, are going to get that right on target. But it is tough to have to come in here and deal with some of those deficits year in and year out on something like corrections. But thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you very much.
Who else? Senator Turner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't quite catch the explanation for the appropriations at section 12, 13, and 14, the Secretary of State, Department of Agriculture, and DFA.
This is giving them the authority to spend the funds that the governor has provided to them through the governor's portion of his CARES Act distribution.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions? If not, do I have a motion on Senate Bill 2956? The motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now we'll move into our bills. And Senator Parks, is she here? Senator Parks, are you online? Okay. I'll take up the IHL bills. I should know these well enough by now. All right, first bill you have in front of you is Senate Bill 2904. This is the general support bill for IHL. You'll see that the total Senate action on general funds is $288,005,192. Total of all funds, including special fund authority, is $1.23,229,930. This is, like you'll see throughout, all these are on LBR with the exception of the handful that I mentioned at first. This is a reduction of 7.475 million roughly from the general fund of 2021 estimate. And be happy to yield any questions on that bill. If there are none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is, by the way, before I take up any more bills, for each of you subcommittee chairs, particularly if you're dealing with special fund agencies, but I'll leave it up to you. If you want to do them in block, if there's something unique you want to talk about as you take up your bills, that's fine. But if you want to take them up in block, I'm okay with that as well. I typically do some of these alone. I mean, standalone. Like for instance, on this one, we've got the ag units through Alcorn and Mississippi State that I may take up as a block, but the other ones I'll cover individually. But anyway, next is Senate Bill 2905. That's the subsidiary programs. Those are the various programs that are the Mississippi programs that we essentially have housed at our state institutions of higher learning. Their total general fund number is $32,297,358. Total of all funds, $77,809,525. The general fund reduction off of 2021 is $825,216. I'll yield for questions if there are none. Motion's title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported. Next, actually, I need to take up individually because we've got a slight amendment to make. It's Senate Bill 2906. This is Alcorn State's Ag Program Bill. You'll see that the amount is $6,033,962. All but $19,322 of their total amount is included in general funds. And I do have an amendment as requested by Alcorn on this bill. In the bill itself, the current and existing language for a lot of years has been the Alcorn State University Agricultural Programs. The request has been made to rename that the Alcorn State University Agricultural Research, Extension, and Land Grant Programs. And that is in two places in the appropriations bill. I'd like to amend to include the language as requested by Alcorn. Can I get that amendment? Senator Polk has moved that amendment. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now on the bill on final passage. Any questions? If there are none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I'm going to go through all of the Mississippi State bills, the ag support bills from Mississippi State, the 2907, 2908, 2909, and 2910. Is there a motion to take those up in block? Motion is take them up in block. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 2907, Ag and Forestry Experiment Station, total general funds, $20,865,867. Total of all funds, $31,101,101. In the Cooperative Extension Services Program, that's the one that's in each county in the state, Extension Services, total amount funded out of general funds is $28,483,896. Total of all funds, $42,611,352. The Forest and Wildlife Research Center, that's Senate Bill 2909. General funds, $5,245,065. All funds, $6,409,129. And finally, the Veterinary and Medicine College at Mississippi State, general fund, $16,518,292. Total of all funding is $48,004,261. Any questions about any of those bills? If not, motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is the Student Financial Aid Office. Boy, I could talk about this for a while, as we did last week on the floor, or week before last. I will tell you that the deficit request that we passed on the bill a couple weeks ago has been whittled down some. We've gotten closer to a final number, and that's part of that bill, Senator Moran, that you referenced on the DMR, the Student Financial Aid Bill. So that number will come down from what we discussed on the floor a week before last. But the total amount in funded out of general funds is $42,085,128. Total of all funds is $43,421,128. Are there any questions? If not, the motion is title sufficient to pass. Thank you. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. That, ayes have it. That bill will be reported. And then finally is the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Total of all general funds is $154,119,032. Total of all funding through UMMC is $1,643,687,121. That's Senate Bill 2912. Any questions? Motion, title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Moving on to community colleges. Senator Frazier, behind me. You're recognized.
I'm on. Senate, we're going to adopt Senate Bill number 2913, the Community College Board. We're going to go with the L bill recommendation of $127,048,973. That's a decrease of 1.9% overall. A general fund decrease of $147,815 is 2.5% decrease, and a federal fund decrease of 2.10 decrease, and other funds decrease of 1.42. We also, in this section, decided to insert a reverse repealer, and also deleted section 18 that provided money for a data center technology upgrades. So the recommendation is title sufficient to pass on Senate Bill number 20.
Thank you. You
913.
heard Senator Frazier's explanation of Senate Bill 2913. Anybody have any questions? If not, he made the motion, title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, Senator Frazier, 2914.
2914, we're going to adopt the LBO funding level. In this bill, we are looking at an overall budget of $629,422,237. That's overall decrease of 18.99%. The general fund decrease is 2.76%, and the special fund decreases 1.10% decrease, and federal fund decreases 43%. Overall decrease of 18.99%. So basically just adopting LBO recommendation.
Okay, you've heard an explanation of 2914. Any questions? If not, the motion was title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Frazier. Next, Senator Wiggins will take up the public safety, et cetera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 29, do call up Senate Bill 2915, the corrections. There are a number, and Mr. Chairman, I'll do it this way. I'm going to go over the totals, and there are a number of different provisions. If anybody has a question on those, I would ask those. So, or I would entertain questions on those. So we went with excuse me one second. Sorry, we're on corrections. We went with the LBR, and LBR total action is $320,578,941. This represents the LBR funding, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If not, title sufficient to pass.
Any questions? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Bill will be reported.
Senate Bill 2916, this is what I was looking at, and need to explain a couple things. So the Senate action is LBR, and the total action is $210,671,033. What is represented in that above the LBR, so there's there is $22,471,692 above LBR. What that is we passed the Capitol Police bill, and that's $6,469,278 to transfer from the DFA to DPS Office of Capitol Police. And then for that bill, there was $100,000 transfer from DFA Capitol Police, again to DPS Office of Capitol Police. And then there's also a transfer of $15,902,414 from MDOT Law Enforcement Motor Carrier to DPS Law Enforcement Motor Carrier, representing a total increase to LBR funding, $22,471,692. If you look at your spreadsheet, at the end of the day, that represents a 7.26% increase to the Department of Public Safety. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If not, title sufficient, do pass.
It's on his notes.
22. That's where the 20.
I'd ask the committee's indulgence for just a moment. Yeah, we need them in. That's not part of it. Unfortunately, you didn't get the latest version of this. My apologies.
Okay.
The last,
So I'll,
the last part about the DOT transfer was not in that in the bill yet.
So
Everything else would be the same.
with that, and
The part that
based on
should,
the numbers I called out, back out the 15 million, and so there's 6,500,200 total increase to LBR, which is a total Senate action of 194,699,541. That's the total Senate action, which is LBR plus the DFA Capitol Police transfer.
That's right.
And not the MDOT.
that's correct.
Okay.
Any questions? If not,
With that, title sufficient, do
the
pass.
motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, one question on that.
Yes.
So I announced on the spreadsheet, the public safety, that's an increase of 6,400,000. That represents only the DFA, not the
Capitol
MDOT.
Police, right, that's the Capitol Police
So
switch.
the sheet is right.
There's several items, just for the benefit of the whole committee. The only two items, other than the Medicaid item that I mentioned, the only two items that we've got on here for first action are that switch from DFA to DPS on the Capitol Police and the teacher pay raise. There are several items that I know have come up in various committees. For instance, I see Senator Barr right here in front of me. There's several things in education, for instance. There were, we passed several things. I mean, Senator Branning's bill on MDOT. We have a bill on the dementia program. I'm thinking there was another one that's escaping me right now. We've got a lot of them, and I think I've looked at all those, and I think let's see if those make it down. Let's see how far we get down the line, so we don't have to start pulling money back. I think we have felt pretty firm about this teacher pay raise again, and that one issue that we've got pretty good indications on with the Capitol Police and DPS. But there are some other things that will certainly change as we get further into the budgeting process that will change this up quite a bit. Any other questions, Senator Wiggins?
No.
All right. I think we passed that, didn't we, that bill? Title sufficient to pass, I know, and everybody voted. All right. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. We'll move on to Senator Delano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2917 is MEMA's budget. It consists of two separate budgets. One's their operating budget. First, their operating budget general funds of $3,699,931 in a total budget of $39,577,087. And the disaster recovery fund requires a general fund support of $585,056 and a total budget of $629,136,270, and that is obviously mainly general fund or federal funds that come in through disaster recovery. That is an explanation of the bill.
Any questions?
There are no questions. It's to be title sufficient, do pass.
Motion on 2917 is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next budget is 2918, Military Department, requires general fund support, $7,558,359, for a total budget of $147,648,901. That is an explanation of that budget.
Questions?
No questions. Title sufficient would be title sufficient, do pass.
Motion title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The bill will be reported.
Thank you. The last budget is 2919, Veterans Affairs, requires a general fund support of $5,324,778 for a total budget of $49,437,052. That is an explanation of the bill.
Any questions?
Motion would be title sufficient, do pass.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Delano. Moving to Senator Norwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First bill is 2920, Ethics Commission, General Fund 583597. The LBR and the Senate action is the same.
Any questions on 2920? If not, Senator Norwood, you have a motion?
Pass this to the House.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2921, Judicial Performance Commission. The LBR action is, recommendation is 525399, and the Senate action is the same. General funds, and it's 40,029 in special fund for a total of 565,428.
Any questions? If not,
Title sufficient to pass.
the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported. Senator Michelle. And you get to a microphone, Senator Michelle, so all of our viewers at home can hear you. Your great voice.
Thank you. Senate Bill 2922, Employment Security, Mississippi Department of, is a special fund agency. There's no general funds, total funds of $157,098,796. I'd like to move title sufficient to pass Senate Bill 2922, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions? If not, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Bill will be reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Department of Revenue, you'll see three income divisions: Revenue Department of, the Homestead Exemption Reimbursement, and License Tag Commission. The Department of Revenue has general funds of $37,670,588, and other funds totaling $56,848,176, and that's a decrease of Senate action of 4.23, basically 4.3 million over Senate action over LBR over requested funds, excuse me. And then homestead exemption reimbursement, $77,038,135. There's no other funds with this, for a total of $77,038,135. And the license tag commission is the total funds of $2,989,091. I'd like to move title sufficient to pass Senate Bill 2923.
Any questions on 2923? If there are none, the motion was title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2924, the Tax Appeals Board, is total funds all general funds of $497,493. Move title sufficient to pass.
Any questions? Not the motion's title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2925, Workers' Compensation Commission, general funds of $4,935,956. And I think, please correct me, Mr. Chairman, is the special funds request, is that for the second injury trust fund, the $200,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's request. So for total funds of $5,135,956. Move title sufficient to pass.
Motion's title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is Senator Hill's bills. I don't think Senator Hill is with us unless, Senator Hill, are you online? Hearing no response. She may not have her notes anyway. We'll take up Mental Health Senate Bill 2926. The general funds for the Department of Mental Health are $207,094,040. Total of all funds is $541,154,231. Looking to see if we've got any language changes. About 4 million, yeah. 4 million. Had one change from last year, or one change of any substance was the increase of 16, the increase from 16.1 million to 20.1 million on the Olmstead funds, and that is trying to remember the Olmstead case. Senator Hill, I wish you were here. Yeah, community-based services. Thank you. That's for the community-based services. All right, that's an explanation of the bill. Any questions?
Question,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Wiggins.
Section 15 of the bill, that's where we appropriate for crisis intervention centers. And my recollection is that, there is a crisis intervention center in Jackson County.
Yeah,
And there was language,
that's about the only thing.
there was language in last year's bill, if my memory serves me, that where it's in lines 329 to 334, that Jackson County was mentioned in there, and I don't see that there. Do we know what happened with that? But I know for a fact that there is a crisis intervention center, because I drive by it every day. So it's getting, I don't know where that funding's coming from if it's not in this bill.
Bear with me for 1 second. I don't see any language that
No.
removed Jackson County from the bill, but you feel convinced that it was in there last year?
Yeah, because I made the amendment.
Bear with me just a second. I'm looking at budget notes. I tell you what, Senator
Actually,
Wiggins.
may have been 2 years ago. But I remember, but I know for a fact that the crisis intervention center is being funded in Jackson County.
I will be happy to check on that, and if there's some issue, we can certainly take it up, and if there needs to be an amendment on the floor. But I don't recall there being a separate, and I don't see anything in the budget notes that would reflect a change to that section of the bill.
I'm being told Mr. Chairman, my concern, I don't want that funding to go away, obviously, because at a minimum we, the legislature, adopted this crisis intervention center for Jackson County.
Well, let's do this, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and pass it now, and then if there's, let's have the discussion as to why Jackson County, you know, was not in here last year, and what changed from the previous year. If there's a need, or there's some record of them having received funds, you're certainly entitled to make the amendment at the appropriate time.
Yeah, just, that's certainly fine. Just for clarification, the need is there. That's why we did it. And the need is there from a mental health perspective. And having worked with Department of Mental Health, they're aware of it too. So I think it's just, at this point, maybe just tracking down the language.
Well, yeah, if we can pass it as is now, because I'd rather change it on the floor than have to change it now and then have to pull it out for some reason. And I will ask the budget analyst for mental health to get with you and me and Senator Hill if she makes it back tonight or first thing in the morning. And if it needs to be in there, I have no objection to it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Senator Delano.
kind of on that same, along those same lines, in section 15 on line 327, I would just like for you to make a note, and hopefully somebody will be able to confirm this. I believe that Region 13 is now has taken over the Crisis Stabilization Unit in Gulfport, and I just want to make sure that we have the language correct. And it might be Region 12, but I just want to let you know there's a Pine Belt Mental Health Research Center that's taken over the Gulf Coast one, and I want to make sure we have that correct.
Thank you for that information. Again, if the budget analyst, I'm not sure who's got, Dave, you got that? If you'll get with Senator Delano and Senator Wiggins after the meeting, and let's get all that clarified, and I'll be happy to entertain a motion tomorrow when we get on the floor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? If not, may I get a motion? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill be reported. Next, moving to Senator Branning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it pleases the chair, I'd like to take these up in block.
Yes, certainly.
Senate Bill,
Motion take up Senate Bills 2927 and 2928 in block. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator Branning.
Senate Bill 2927 is the Office of State Aid Road Construction, and the Senate action on this is $195,410,848. Senate Bill 2928 is the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway Development Authority. The Senate action on this will be $358,400. This particular Bill 2928, it does have a reverse repealer, and this is for my subcommittee members. There were a couple of questions that remain unanswered, so I have spoken to the chair about that. We're going to continue to work to make sure all of our questions are answered. If there are no questions on these two bills, I move title sufficient to pass.
Thank you, Senator Branning. As Senator Branning mentioned, and I think Senator Frazier mentioned this earlier, there should be a reverse repealer in all these. So as things like Senator Branning's mentioning, and on the last bill with the crisis intervention centers, as they pay attention, because if there are details that need to be brought forward when we go through this process, let's make sure we get these right so we don't have to try to correct them late in the game or after we get out of here. So motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported. Next is Subcommittee 12, Senator Butler. You want to pull that mic a little closer, Senator Butler, so they can hear you.
I would like to take up 29, Senate Bill 29 through 2935 in block.
All of them in block, Senator Butler?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the motion is to take up Senate Bills 2929, 2930, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 in block. Any questions? If there are none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You can take them up in block, Senator Butler.
Okay, and for 2929, LBR is 104,851, and Dental Examiners Board, LBR 946,963, and Funeral Service Board, $998,797. Massage Therapy, $189,467. Senate Bill 2933, the Pharmacy Board, LBR, $3,256,725. Professional councils, $189,764. And veterinary medicine, LBR, $191,350. So move the title sufficient do pass.
Any questions? Hearing none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The bill be reported. Thank you, Senator Butler. Next, Senator Turner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2936, Board of Architecture, LBR is $354,807. Senate action is the same. If there are no questions, I will move title sufficient to pass.
Any questions? If not, motion made was title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The bill be reported.
Senate Bill 2937, Mississippi Gaming Commission, General Fund support $7,702,308. The special fund support will be $766,211 for a total budget of $8,468,519. If there are no questions, I move title sufficient to pass.
Any questions? Hearing none, the motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move to take up the remaining bills in block, which would be 2939, 2940, and 2941.
Is 2938 also in there, Senator?
2938 also.
Okay. You heard the motion to take those items up in block. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2938 would be the Board of Registered Professional Geologists. Special fund support would be $129,589. Motor Vehicle Commission, which would be Senate Bill 2939. Special fund, $343,020. 2940, Board of Public Accountancy, $681,555. Board of Public Contractors, 2941. Special Fund, $4,037,147. I'll yield for questions. If there are none, I move title sufficient, do pass.
Any questions? Not, you heard the motion, title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Next is Subcommittee 15. Senator Jackson, Sampson Jackson, available? If not, I will handle those. And I'm going to request that we take all of these items up in block, and that would be the motion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You have Senate Bill 2942, general funds, $7,013,675. Total amount for the Department of Ag and Commerce is $20,459,778. Also, within that same budget, you have the Ag Beaver Control Program. The total amount, special funds, is $1,100,000. Senate Bill 2943 is the Egg Marketing Board. It's all special funds, $74,805. Moving on to Senate Bill 2944, the Board of Animal Health. The total general funds is $1,110,727. Total of all funds is $1.867,380. Moving on to Senate Bill 2945, general funds, $196,540, and that's the total of all funds. Also within 2945, which is the Dixie National Livestock Show, it's all special funds, and the amount is $954,150. That's the explanation of those measures. Any questions? Hearing none, the motion would be title sufficient to pass. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Next, moving to Senator Polk.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With your permission, I'd like to take up Senate Bill 2946 through 2955, excluding 2951 in block.
Okay, you got a motion to take up all items excluding 2951, which is the MDA, Mississippi Development Authority. Take those up in block. Any questions? Anybody want to pull any aside? A lot of bills for Senator Polk. Hearing none to be pulled aside. All in favor of his motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you can see, the Department of Audit, we're just going down LBR. That's going to be the sitting action, $11,557,000 plus. Banking and consumer finance, $10,126,443. That is a total special fund agency. I need to note that. On the rest of them, you can see the numbers. The only change, material change, is what Senator Wiggins spoke of earlier, moving the Capitol Police from DFA to DPS. That's just a transfer from one department to the other, and those budget numbers have been moved. If there are no questions, I'd like to move title sufficient to pass.
Any questions for Senator Polk? If not, you heard the motion, title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Now back to Senate Bill 2951, MDA.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If y'all will look in that bill on line 250, we need to make an amendment. 250, it says to assist Jackson County, and we need to insert Economic Development Foundation with site development related support. So I would move that we add those words, Economic Development Foundation, after the word county on line 250.
Any questions about the amendment? Senator, that was the funds that we provided to Jackson County for, I'm trying to remember, Senator Wiggins probably know, but I'm drawing, it's escaping
For a
me.
defense supplier,
It was, yes, may I, Mr.
You
Chairman?
may, Senator Wiggins.
It was for defense supplier, that being the Rolls-Royce, which makes it's the only one in the country that makes propellers for ships. And that should have said Economic Development Foundation. There became, after this originally passed, there became some back and forth between the county versus the foundation, and the intent was always for the foundation, hence the amendment.
Right.
And this would clear that up.
And the county, I think, even agreed to this, if I remember correctly, by correspondence, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So that's an explanation of the amendment. Any questions about, any other questions about the amendment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it now on
okay.
final
And
passage.
we were just, Senate action will be LBR. If there are no questions, title sufficient to pass.
Any questions about the MDA bill? If not, the motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That bill will be reported. Obviously, you know, this is half the bills that we've taken up today. The other half will be coming later. Again, I'll go back over tomorrow, the spreadsheet, and if you think of anything, I would appreciate your letting me know before tomorrow morning if you think of anything that may have been slipped through the cracks or that needs to be corrected, just so we have a heads up tomorrow morning before we go into on the floor action. Senator Delano?
Mr. Chairman, seeing the fact that committee just went through all of these bills and there were very few questions that were asked, would you consider taking these up in block and just going with LBR?
What I have talked about, I'm going to meet with Corbin tonight, and what I would like to do, and of course it's going to be up to the members, any member can pull any bill. I'm going to try to go through the bills, particularly special fund agencies, and probably take those up in block, and then I'm probably going to try to carve out the 15 or so bills that I know people have questions, traditionally have questions about. Whether they have any questions tomorrow or not, I don't care. But I'm going to try to pull those out and go through them individually, and then take some of the other general fund agency bills that typically don't have any questions and try to take those in block as well. Yep. Thank you, Senator Delano, for that question. Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to rise and report. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.